argument. Second one is called Nagaraja. I can just give a quick overview because this is important session we discussed. Okay, so yesterday we talked about required or positional argument, meaning I explained you. Let me just get ready with our Python IDLE as well. Okay, so this is what we learned yesterday, some of the programs we have written. So we seen that the greet function, it takes two parameters, okay, name and the message. So both are actually comes under the first category, which is required or positional argument, meaning both of them are required and the position also important here. Because first I'm printing the name, the next I'm printing the message. That's why if you call the greet function, has to be called with two parameters compulsory. It has to be called with two parameters compulsory. The first one will take the name and the second one will take the message here now. Okay, name comma message is the parameter. And why it is called required and positional argument? Because whenever you call the greet function, now you have to pass two parameters because they don't have any default value as well. So that's why both of them is required. Both of them is required, and even the position matters because the first parameter will be the name of the person and the second parameter is the message here now. So that way both the parameters are required and both the parameters should be in the correct position. So this category comes under the first category actually, required and positional argument. Now if I run this code and try to call the greet function, okay, suppose yeah, it was actually running Fibonacci, but we don't want to run this, so let's let it be. When I call this greet function now, okay, when I call the greet function with no parameters now, I will be getting an error. It says that greet missing two required and positional argument, okay, which is message and name, which is message and name is missing actually. Okay, so that is required. So that way it's saying that greet needs to take compulsory two positional or required argument, which is name and the message has to be taken. So that's what this greet function is all about. Okay, the first category. The second one we learned yesterday that we made two addition of two numbers. Then we thought that if I wanted to make addition of three numbers, I can make one more function called add with the same name, but that function will take three parameter. So now we got total two functions like add with two parameters and add with three parameter. It seems like function overloading because when I call the function with three parameter, it worked. But when I call the function with two parameter, it did not work. Why? Because function overloading is not allowed in Python. Whenever you write any function, it overrides the earlier one. So that's why you can call with three parameter, but the earlier function you cannot call it, which is with two parameters you cannot call it. So that's why, okay, we Python has given you this concept called default or optional argument. Python says that you don't need to have uh, function overloading or multiple functions for the same name. What you can have is you can have instead default or optional argument. Instead you can have default or optional argument, meaning that you can define the function where you can have a combination of required argument as well as the default argument. In this case, this function will work minimum with two arguments and maximum with three arguments. So I can call this function with two arguments. I can also call this function with three arguments. In all the way it will work because I have given this C value as 0, which is default now. If you don't pass the C value, it will take this 0 as a default value. It will take 0 as the default value. So now when I run this code now, there is no function with two parameter. As you can see, add with two parameter, but still I can call add with two parameters. C will be treated as 0. Then when I press enter, it will be returning me the result as 5. Now I can also call the add with three parameters. I can also call add with three parameters. Seems like it is overloaded function. Seems like there are two functions called add. One is taking two parameter, the other is taking three parameter, but actually not. Actually not. Okay, because here Okay, we have the last value as a default value. It is mandatory to pass 2 arguments, but the third argument is optional. So that is called a combination of required argument and default argument. The required argument and the default argument. That's a combination of all of them. Okay, that is what we learn. Next thing, we talked about keyword argument, like especially in our greet function. When I call the greet function, the important thing about is the order here. Suppose if I pass the message first, call hello, and then the name of the person, let's say XYZ, then what happens now? It says Mr. Hello says XYZ because I changed the order. So if you don't know the order, you know the argument names, then you can call, or you wanted to jump the first argument with last argument, you wanted to miss few arguments, not want to follow the order, then always you can make use of argument here. You can always make use of keyword argument. So you can say that you wanted to say message as hello, and you wanted to use that name as XYZ. So the order does not matter now. It can use any order. That's what keyword argument will, where the order does not matter. So default argument is to define some default values, and keyword argument is to define the order, like order will not be the case. Okay. Now what we'll do here is let us talk about variable length argument. Okay, let us go and talk about what is this variable length argument. For example, I want to define one function here now called average. I wanted to make a function today called an average function. So yesterday we did a small exercise on Fibonacci series as well. Okay, now let us define one function here called AVG, average. Okay, to find the average of the numbers. So here I can use A value. Okay, I can use B. Average of two numbers, I can find it. So if I wanted to find the average of two numbers, then I can just say here that return, or I can print, sorry. So I can say A is equal to, okay. What I can do here is um, I'll take sum, sorry, because we already took A. So I'll take sum is equal to 0, sum is equal to 0, or sum is equal to A plus B. I will add them, and then average is equal to, okay, average, I can say result, RES, result is equal to, okay, S divided by 2, and then I'll print the average. AVERAGE, average is equal to, comma, I will print the result. I'll print the result of this average of two numbers now. So this is a program for finding average of two numbers. I'll be finding sum, and sum will be divided by 2. So if you don't want to find sum directly, you wanted to write the formula, that is also okay. But we make sure you write in parenthesis. This A plus B must be in parenthesis because we know that division got the highest priority than addition. It will first divide, then it will add it. Now it looks good. Only 2 lines of code where we have written A plus B divided by 2, and then we are printing average out of it. Now we will run this code now. Okay. Okay, I'll run the code again, and this time I will call the average function. We have many functions in my program, but I would like to call the average function. Let's say average of 2, 3 will print me 2.5. Okay, 2 plus 3 will be 5 divided by 2. Okay, will give you 2.5 as a result. Will get you 2.5 as a result. So that is an average of two numbers here. What if I want to find average of three numbers, guys? What if I wanted to have an average of three numbers? What if, okay, 3 parameters, but I wanted to work with both actually, 2 parameters as well as 3 parameters. Perfect, Abhishek. So we have to use this C is equal to 0 here now, right? We have to give that value to 0, and here I need to change the formula that A plus B plus C divided by 3. Okay, divided by 3. Now I'll be finding an average, so now it will work for both 2 parameters as well as 3 parameters. Okay, I can call average of 2 parameter as I did before, no problem, it will still find me. Okay, but average of two numbers is giving me wrong result because it's need to be divided by 2, but it's dividing by 3, so that's wrong. First thing, that is one problem with this program. that it's not finding me average properly. Okay, first thing. And second thing is I can find the average of 3 numbers will work fine, but average of 2 numbers is not working at all. Okay, it's not working. Okay, so I'll run the code now. So I will just call avg function. I'll pass 1 comma 2 comma 3. This time it will be okay. This time it will be okay because it is divided by 3 actually, so getting correct. So it's not working for average of 2 numbers. So how to resolve this problem? How to resolve this problem? No, because there are parameters. How you will know how many times you will loop? Okay, generally there is no possibility to find that how to do this, like how to find the number of arguments you have passed. That is very difficult. No, yeah, that's what you need to add some conditions. That's what Shikawat. Okay, but still you need to check whether the C is present or not. Then you have to add. So it will be like typical. One is this is biggest problem. Another problem is what about if I wanted to find the average of 4 numbers, 5 numbers, 6 numbers, 7 numbers? What to do? If I want to find the average of more than 3 numbers, because can be possible, right? Sometime I want to find the average of first 10 numbers or some numbers. Okay, I don't know the number of values I will be passing. So I wanted to have a function which can take 2 parameters, 3 parameters, 4 parameters, 5 parameters, 6 parameters, 7 parameters, any number of arguments actually. So in that case, both to solve both the problems now, I will be introducing you something called variable length argument. I'll be introducing you variable length argument. Variable length argument, as the name says, that it can take any number of arguments actually. The variable length argument, as the name says, that it can take any number of arguments. The syntax of variable length argument is the syntax of variable length argument. Okay, let me write down the syntax here. Okay, the syntax of variable length argument is, okay, you will have a function as usual. You'll define the function. Okay, you'll define the function. Okay, let's say fun as a function, and here, okay, you will define the variable length argument. Let me write pass for time being. Okay, pass is a statement where you want to do nothing actually. So you can, what you can do is you can use this star and you can use this args. Okay, or whatever the variable name you wanted to use it, you can use args arguments. You can pass multiple arguments like this. So this function actually can take 0 arguments, can take 0 argument, can take 1 argument, can take 2 arguments, can take any number of arguments actually. So this kind of function, if you see any time in Python, you can simply say that it's a variable length argument. It's a variable length argument. Okay, so what is this star actually here? Anybody? What is this star here actually? All. Okay, very good. Okay, so basically in Python, it is treated as, no, it's not pointer. That's what I was looking for, because there is no pointers concept in Python. So that's what many of us will get confused when I put star before the variable name. We think that it's something like related with pointers. No, okay, because there is no pointers concept. So here, at least star does not represent pointers. At least star does not represent pointers. Star here means you can say all, as everybody said, or basically it will represent tuple in Python. Basically it will represent tuple in Python actually. Okay, so let me prove that first of all. So now I will remove everything now. Okay, I will remove everything, or I'll keep the print statement at least. Now here I will remove this arguments. I can put star args. So I can solve this problem very easily. I'll put star args arguments, or you can take any name. It's not fixed, but generally people prefers to take it. So let's take it args argument now. Now, first of all, let me print you that args and also the type of args. So let me print the type of args, whatever you pass. args, okay, args, comma, args, okay, argument. Now you see when I run this code now, when I run the code, here I can call avg with any number of arguments like 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, no problem. If I call this, it's saying that I belongs to a class called tuple, and what you pass is a tuple actually. So whenever you pass comma separated value now, they will not take as a different argument, they will take as a tuple, and they will pack them right into one variable now. So it's taking multiple values and packing into a single variable. So we already learned about packing and unpacking in Python tuple, right? And I also told you that Python uses tuple very much in their implementation. So here in functions, it uses a lot while passing the multiple arguments. It will be treated as a tuple in that case. Understood, everyone? Okay, thank you. So first thing, yeah. So also take list value and convert to tuple. Yes, of course, Satyam. Can also take list value and convert to tuple. Yeah, I'll give one more example, but try to understand that this average function can work with any number of arguments now. This average function can work with any number of arguments. Okay, so let me just start writing the code. Let me write the complete code that how average actually works. Okay, now let me write the logic so that it can solve the problem. Like it can take any number including 0 as well, and it should tell me that okay, it is like you. I will show you first now that I can call this with any number of arguments now. I can call this with any number of arguments. I will close this window. Okay, I'll run the code again. And now you can see here, I can call this AVG with 0 arguments, perfectly worked. AVG with 1 argument, perfectly worked. You see, it can take any number of argument actually. AVG with 2 numbers, okay, it still works. AVG with 3 numbers, it works. Already we seen with 4 numbers. Let me call AVG with big numbers like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so it perfectly works again. So tuple begin from the, yeah, I'll just show you the syntax of the tuple. It's very simple, Shikawat. I didn't explain anything here. I told you if you wanted to define any variable length argument in Python, then you will use the function. Okay, you will define the function, and you will use this star before the variable length. It will treat it as a tuple now. Okay, it will, yeah, different data type may also exist, of course, as it is a tuple, so it can contain different data type as well. One can be integer, one can be float, one can be anything. Okay, so because as we know that it's a dynamically typed first thing, and second thing, tuple can contain heterogeneous data element, so perfectly valid. Okay, perfectly valid. Now when I say star here, Shikawat, it means it's a tuple, and you can give any name. I just given args. So what I did is I defined my function as args, and I told you that it converts into tuple. Actually, it packs into tuple whatever the number of arguments you are passing. Because the problem where what we are facing here, that I want to find an average, but if I define an average of 2 numbers, then it will not work for average of 3 numbers, 4 numbers, and 5 numbers. I have to define with default argument. But default argument does not suit even, because the logic is going to be different for different function. Like average of 2 numbers will have a different logic, average of 3 numbers will have a different logic, and average of 4 numbers will have a different logic. In other programming language, if this is the case, they allow function overloading and method overloading. So we overload the function, meaning we will have average with 2 parameters, average with 3 parameters, average with 4 parameters, average with 5 parameters. So that way, but there is a limit. Actually, I cannot go more number of arguments. There is no limit in taking arguments, but basically it looks very odd having 10 arguments in your function, and dealing with those 10 arguments will also be very tedious, very complicated. So that's why programming languages like Java, Python, and all, they have come up with a concept called variable length argument. They have come up with a concept called variable length argument, where you can pass multiple arguments now. Just now I've shown you the example. I can call average with zero argument. Do we have an average with zero argument? No, I don't have an average with zero argument actually, but still I can call it. Still I can call it, there is no problem. It says that I belongs to a class called tuple and it printed me an empty tuple. I'm passing with one parameter, so it's this function is getting called again. It's printing me as a tuple. I'm passing two parameter, it accepted. I pass three parameter, it accepted. I pass nine parameters, it accepted. Okay, so this is generally called as variable length argument. Shikawat, is that clear for you and others as well? Is that clear for everyone here? Yeah, thank you, Udit. Thank you, Saif. Thank you, Shikawat. Yeah, anybody having any question, please let me know. Thank you, Narendra. Thank you, Prashanti. Thank you, Nitin. Thank you, Snehal. But when we call function 1, 2, 3, 4, but in the function we have to use 1, 2, 3, 4 in different place. Like example, Satyam. Would you like? Yeah, I'll show example. We'll do a couple of examples. Don't worry, Shikawat. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's what I will show you the logic. Now the logic will be like accessing the tuple, Satyam. The logic will be accessing the tuple. Now let us write the formula. Okay, let us write the formula now. Okay, so what I will do is, okay, by using length function, you can use loop now. Okay, so now you can see here, I will write s is equal to 0, 0.0. S is equal to 0, fine, no problem. Then what I will do is, I'll find the average now. How can I find the average? I can say for loop, for I in, ARGS, because you know that you can loop the tuple directly. You can use the tuple directly now. Okay, that you can pick one by one element from the tuple and you can store it now. Then I will add that value. S plus is equal to I. So keep adding that value. Now I come out. I'll come out of the loop. Now I got the sum value now. I got the sum value, meaning I have added all of them. Now, after adding all of them, I want to find the average. To find the average now, I will use result is equal to whatever we got in S, whatever we got in S, I will divide with. Can you guess what number I will divide now? I got the sum, right? So I initialize it to 0. I pick one by one element. I pick one by one element and every time I add it with the S value. So this is how I can find the sum of tuple elements. Very good, Abhishek. Very good. I can use length now. We do have a function called length. Okay, length of that will decide that how many variables are there. So I can call this length function. I can say length of ARGS. Length of ARGS. Perfect. And I can print the average now. I can print the average. So AVERAGE average is equal to comma RES result. Perfectly fine. Now I can write any logic, guys. Once I get in tuple now, you know how to loop it and how to retrieve the value. Now you see, I will call the average of two numbers. Okay, average of two numbers. It worked. Okay, I will call average of three numbers. It worked. Okay, I can call the average of any number now and it's giving me the correct result as well. When I say average of 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6, it still worked, which is 3.5. And average of 0 also works, and but I'll get 0 division error because it cannot divide with 0. Length of ARGS will get you 0, so that you can add one if logic there, no problem. But no, yeah, that is also correct. That is also perfect. That Ubul says that I can, instead of this, I can directly call the sum function. I can directly call the sum function as well. Okay, but I shown you that how to do it, but I can call sum of ARGS. Perfectly, Ubul. I can find the sum of ARGS and the length of ARGS will work again. Now let's run the code. Let's run the code. Okay, and find the average of two numbers now, 2 comma 3. It worked. And find the average of three numbers. It worked. Perfect. So that's okay. Thank you, Abul. Okay, I can make use of predefined function called sum. But the logic is to show you how to find the sum. How to find the sum here now. Understood, everyone? Yeah, thank you, Bull. Yeah, thank you, Nitin. So whenever you have multiple values to be passed and you don't know how many arguments will get passed, you can always take it as a tuple. You can always take it as a tuple there. Okay. No, ARGS is not a keyword, guys. You can use A also, no problem. You can use A also. Okay. People generally prefer to use stands for arguments, so that's why we will use it. But it can be anything. Okay, it can be anything here. Okay, you say here like AVG now. Okay, and pass two parameters, it works. So it can be any name. So there is no keyword like ARGS. Otherwise, it might have changed to orange color if there's a keyword in IDLE. Roshan, actually, we discussed about variable length argument. So basically, variable length argument is used to take multiple values at the same time. Yeah, star here means tuple. I already told you here. Star here means tuple. That's very good question. Can we pass positional argument along with variable length argument to one function? Meaning, Mahipal, after a long time, I hope you're talking to us. Yeah. So how? What can you just elaborate a little bit? Like, what about positional argument you're telling? There is no position here. There is no problem of position at all. Yeah, you mean to say you wanted to have keyword argument? Yeah. So the rule is if you are having multiple arguments, if you wanted to pass one more value, like generally ARGS itself can take all the values, so there is no need of second argument actually. There is no need of second argument. But still, if it is required, it should be at the end. It should be at the end, not at the beginning. Got the point? Sorry. Yeah. So ARGS should be at the end. First, Satyam is correct actually. Mahipal, you cannot do that way. Okay, because it should be a default then. Default argument is allowed. But if you're taking ARGS, it should be the second one, not the first one actually. We can use it. We can use the default argument as well. Okay, we can use default argument as well. No problem. Okay, like for example, I will just change this logic for time being. Yeah, otherwise I'll make one more function here just to show you. DEF called fun, where I'm passing star A. Okay, I'll be printing A. I'll be printing A. Okay, I'll be printing A. And suppose I have first thing, we already know it. Now I can take B. Here you will get error, guys. Here you will get error because the problem is that when I pass three arguments, no, it is required argument. Optional in the sense you can take zero argument also. That's true, Satyam. You can pass zero argument as well. So it look like an optional argument. It's look like an optional argument by default actually. So this will give you an error. Do you all agree? This will give you an error. When I say star A comma B, because when I pass one argument, cannot decide whether it should go to A or whether it should go to B. So B will remain. When I pass two argument, obviously it will go to A. Yes, yes. Then it's okay. Well, first required argument and then you can use variable length argument. Now you see what happens now. When I run this code, when I pass this, when I call fun now, okay, and pass one value or two value, then you see what happens now. Function missing one required keyword only argument. You see, keyword only argument now. Okay. Now in this case, if you wanted to work, then you can use keyword argument. Yeah, I'll show you how to use keyword argument as well, guys. Let it be, first of all. Okay, you can actually cannot use this way. Okay, you cannot use this way. You have to use keyword in this case. You have to use keyword in this case. Like fun, let us try, will it work or not? 1 comma 2 comma b is equal to 3. It worked then. But b value I'm not printing anyhow, but you must use the keyword argument in that case. In that case, you have to compulsory use the keyword argument. Got it, Krishna and Satyam? That if you are using any value, you should know that how many are there, and you must use with keyword. You must use with keyword. That's what it makes sense now, the keyword argument. Because I have to take a name that you are passing 1 comma 2 will go to a, now you are giving a b value. That way it's possible. Or the rule is it should be at the beginning only. It should be at the beginning only. No problem. I can print a comma b. I can print a comma b here now. I will run the code as there are changes. So I'll call the function now. I'll call the function now. I'll pass 1 comma 2 comma 3. Then you can see here that 1 will be stored in b and 2 comma 3 will be stored in a tuple. So that's okay. That's okay if I pass this way now. If I give a default argument, let's see what happens now. If I give the default value, then let's see what happens. When I call the function now, okay, when I call the function now and pass 1 comma 2 comma 3, then you see that it will be taken as a, b will always be 0. So this is the rules to define the variable length argument. That if you wanted to define any variable and it is a required argument, either should be at the beginning, or if it is at the second or third place, then you must use keyword argument only. Okay, but you can use default argument along with it, so combination is perfectly valid. So you can use where arg and default, where arg and required, okay, where arg and keyword, all you can use it very easily. Okay, all you can use very easily. Sometimes you can also take keyword argument. So in that case, you can put 2 stars and you can use KWARGS, keyword argument. Okay, it's not again a keyword, but generally it's look good. Now what you pass, it will become a tuple, guys. When I ask KWARGS, it will be treated as a dictionary now. It will be treated as a dictionary. So KWARGS, when I ask him, it will be treated as a dictionary, guys. Now you must pass the variable date functions as a keyword arguments. Okay, when you put 2 stars, remember that it will be treated as a keyword argument. Now I can call function. I cannot call function with 1 now. Okay, it takes 0 positional argument, but 1 were given. So it does not take such kind of argument actually. Okay, you cannot do this way. You have to pass as a keyword argument, meaning you have to pass something like this: name is equal to xyz, the way you have passed in dictionary key value pair. That's good. You have to pass key and the value now. Name is equal to xyz, id is equal to 101, something like that. It perfectly works, and you see it's converting into dictionary. So this is something like a keyword argument. So this is called KWARGS. So when you put 1 star, you are passing as a tuple. But when you are putting 2 star, it means you can have keyword argument, and you can pass keyword arguments like name is equal to xyz, id is equal to 101, and it will be taken as a dictionary and it will be printed as a dictionary. So this is some add-on knowledge to you all. Please go through. If you have any questions, please let me know so that I can go for next topic. So we covered, okay, all the 4 types of functions. Important, right? To understand Python properly, this is required because implicitly Python uses all of them. Implicitly, Python uses all of them, and especially for functional programming, object-oriented programming, procedural programming, this topic is the heart of all of them. Okay, an important topic for all of them, because you should know how to work with required argument, default argument, keyword argument, and variable length argument. Because in real-time programs, you will come across a lot. You come across a lot here. So any questions regarding variable length argument? Okay, using tuple and keyword argument as well. Again, KWARGS is not fixed name. You can give it any name like A, but make sure you put 2 stars. If you want to pass them as a keyword argument, okay, it's mandatory to pass as a keyword argument there. And second thing is, it will be converted to dictionary, not tuple. It will be converted to dictionary. Again, it's not pointer to pointer something. There is no pointer concept in Python, so no confusion, guys. Using star and double star will never make it pointer. It will treat them as a tuple or dictionary. Okay, Nitin says no question. Thank you, Nitin. Let me check with others as well. Yeah, Kudal has one question. Sir, how it is? Yeah, that's fine, right? I can use both. That's true again. I can use both. ARGS, comma, this thing. So now I'll be printing ARGS, comma. Okay, I'll be printing ARGS, comma, KWARGS. Now let's see what happens now. Okay, now I will say fun. I will pass 1, 2, 3. That's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay because it will take it as a first argument. The dictionary is empty this time because I didn't pass any dictionary. Got the point? I'm passing as a tuple and then dictionary. Yeah, true, because first time you're learning. First time you're learning about passing an argument because we haven't discussed with functions yet. How to pass a tuple and how to pass a dictionary we are learning for the first time. So that's why before this session you are not known to this syntax and all. Okay, generally star we at the time of teaching tuple, as you're expecting, like at the time of teaching tuple and dictionary, if you think like we might have discussed star and double star, that time we don't know about arguments at all, so there is no question of star and double star then. Now with functions we are including the tuple and dictionary. Okay, thank you for your question, Kudal. Okay, now you can see here I can pass the function with 1, 2, 3, and also I can pass name is equal to ABC. Then it will work both. I'm passing tuple as well as dictionary. The order is anything now because now the keyword argument does not matter about order, so order can be anything in this case. Okay, order can be anything. So keyword argument will always be taken and then followed by the tuple. You should not mix up, but it's perfectly okay. So I hope, can I go for the next topic now? Everyone please confirm. Is anybody having any doubt regarding this variable length argument? Can ask. Even Java has this variable length argument, guys. I hope if you are from Java background, then you might have used this vararg in Java. And there it uses 3 dots called ellipsis. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Aditi, for confirming. Okay, so let's get into and talk about something. Now, Ubul has suggested that this sum function can be used here. Now, one thing, can I use our add function now here? We already had the add function, right? Which is actually finding sum. So can I use my add function instead of sum? My next question to all of you. Add function instead of sum? Sure. But add function is not vararg, right? Add function is not vararg. But I wanted to use my add function rather than sum. So can I also change this add function to vararg now? Can I also change this add function to vararg? Because I'm passing variable length argument. Okay, so here I'll take args, and I will find the sum now. I'll find the sum. How to find the sum? We know that s is equal to 0. Let's write the logic as it is very simple logic. For I in args, I'll say s plus is equal to I. S plus is equal to I. That will find the sum and I will print the sum. I'll print the sum. So my add function also can work for multiple arguments now. I remove that 3 argument, default argument and all, because default argument can work for limited number of arguments. 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, whatever you wanted to give it, but it's very lengthy and handling of those functions will be very tedious. Okay, handling of those functions will be very tedious. So I will call my add function and see that will it work for 2 numbers? Yes, it's working for 2 numbers. I will call add function with 3 numbers. Yes, again it works for 3 numbers. Can I call add function with more numbers? Yes, it will work for any number now. It will work for any numbers here now. Okay, so that way you can understand how the predefined function like sum and all works actually. How the predefined function like sum and everything works. Okay, Nitin says that we are not returning, we are printing, so we cannot use here. Do you agree, guys? Do you agree with Nitin and Satyam that I cannot use add here now? Even though I have changed to variable length argument, still I cannot use add here. Do you agree? Yes, yes. Actually, that's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, I'm actually for this, with the help of this example, I'm going to introduce you one more concept. Okay, I will be introducing you one more concept here called the, I can say, fifth concept I would like to introduce now. The fifth concept I would like to introduce here. The fifth concept, okay, I would like to introduce here, returning a value. Returning values in functions. Returning values in function. Couple of points I would like to talk about returning a value. Okay, first thing, first thing I would like to talk about return versus print. Return versus print. Many of them will have this confusion regarding return versus print. Okay, for example, here I'm passing variable length argument. I'm passing variable length argument and I'm printing it. Okay, I'm printing it. Or if you're getting confused with variable length argument, let's say one argument. Let's say one argument. Okay, let's say x. Okay, and I'll print x here now. I'll print x. I'll print x. This is printing x now. So I will call the function now. Okay, I'll call the function and I will pass some message. Let's say hello. Let's say hello. I'll pass. Now what it will do? It will print hello to me. It will print hello to me. Now instead of printing, I can return also. Instead of printing this x value, I can return also. Return x. Return x. Do you see any difference in the output? You'll not find a difference in the output. Okay, I think I didn't run actually. I need to run the code. Okay, I ran now. Now you see I'll be calling function and I'll be passing hello this time. Okay, will be output same. Will be output same. But do you find any difference in the out thing now? The previous one and this one? Do you find any difference or looking same? Because many people will get this confusion. What is the difference between returning a value and printing a value? What is the difference between? Second one is a string. Okay, it's in quotes because I'm returning that value. So this is an output and this is it's printing as a string. First thing, that's a one difference. Any other difference between the previous one and this one? Before printing a value and returning a value? When to print and when to return? That is our question. When to print the answer and when to return the answer. When to print the answer and when we have to return the answer. These are all important interview questions, guys. I think function is one of the topic where you can have many interview questions actually. Okay, return use for any other place of program. Very good, Satyam. But when we print it, it cannot be used by other programs. Do you agree? Yeah, print for printing to output screen. That's look good, guys. Okay, that's look good. Thank you, Satyam, for answering. So that's correct, as Satyam said, that return can be used by other program, but if you print it, it cannot be used by other program. That is one of the basic reason why we should not print the value. Why should we return? Now, in this situation is, you see, I cannot use add here now. I cannot use add because add is not returning anything. It's printing the result. But I don't want to print the result. I wanted to use that result every time in my program actually. I wanted to use that result in my program, but I don't want to print it. The function has a default return type called none. Okay, function has a default return type as none. Now, for example, I would like to show you something else. Now, if I say print, okay, I'll do this thing, return. Okay, return X. If I run this code again, this time I will say res is equal to function. res is equal to function and say hello. You know what will be my output? What is there in res now? What is there in res? What is there in res? Hello, very good. Because the function is returning hello, so res will contain hello. So it stores in a result. You can store them back. As I'm using in script, that's okay. I'm using in script, that's why the output is getting printed. What if I wanted to use in the sorry, I'm using in shell, that's why it's printing the output. But what if I want to use in some script? Then you have to store the result. Whenever any function returns any value, it is your responsibility to store the result back, to store the result back. But what if I don't return now? If I don't return, I will use print now. Print x. Now tell me, what will be the output? I run the code again. Okay, I run the code again. Res is equal to print. What will be the, sorry, not print. Re is equal to function. Res is equal to function now. So I will pass hello. What do you think res will contain now? What do you think res will contain now? First of all, it's printing hello because I'm returning it. Sorry, I'm printing it. That's why it's getting hello here now. But what is res if I print it now? Res. Because I'm not returning anything. I'm not returning anything. So this knowledge is important, that what happens if you return, what happens if you don't return. So that's why you need to check whether your function returns or not. That's why you have to check whether your function returns or not. So as Nitin says is correct, the answer will be none, guys. The answer will be none. Now I can print and show you. Print res. So it will print none. It will print none. Because by default, every function will return none, guys. By default, every function will return none. Now here, as I'm printing, so I will get error that none divided by length. When I call average function now, I will get an error now. When I call average function and want to find the average of two numbers, it will give me an error that unsupported operator for integer and tuple. Unsupported operator for integer and tuple. In this case itself, we got an error. Okay, when we call add, okay, first thing, it's a different error actually, because you know one more problem. It's not about return value. While passing itself, we are passing as an integer. A is treated as an integer now. We don't have to pass an integer here. We have to pass as a tuple. So you have to print star again to unpack them. Remember, star can be used for packing as well as unpacking. So while passing again, you have to unpack and then pack them. Okay, so make sure you use them. Now the error will be something different. You see, previously I got an error saying that unsupported operand plus with integer and tuple. This time when I call avg and pass 1 comma 2, I'll get a different output. Unsupported operator division for none type and integer type. It's telling you that I cannot divide none with integer now. I cannot divide none with integer. Why it's saying none type with integer? Because the add function is not returning anything, so I cannot use them in other functions because it's printing the result. It's not returning the value. As I have to use it, it has to be returned. No, even though you store it in variable Satyam, the function is not returning actually. The function is not returning. So can I use this function in my formula? First question. Can I use this function in my formula? No. Very good, Nitin. Can I get confirmation with others as well? Like why we cannot use this? Okay, Daljit Singh, thank you. That I cannot use in my program now. Why? Because this function is printing the result. If this function has to be used by other function, then it's mandatory that this function should return the result, not print the result. Got my point, everyone? Got my point, everyone? That this function should return now. So instead of printing, it should say return s. Return s. Because there is nothing wrong in the returning the value. You can print them by storing it. So nothing wrong in that. Okay. Thank you for confirming. Now it will be perfectly okay to use this function. Now this time at least I will not get any error. It will work exactly same the way we have used before. It will work exactly same the way we have used before. Okay, 1.2, 1 comma 2 is 1.5. 1 comma 2 is 1.5. Now I will run. I will call the average function with 2 parameters again. It works. Average function with 3 parameters again. It works. Okay. Average function with more parameters. It works. Okay. It works. So all the way it's working. But this time I have used my add function rather than predefine sum function or finding the sum here. I have used my own function called add function. So in that case, this function should return the value. This function should return the value. Okay, so that's way we are returning the value and using in my formula. So remember, if you wanted to use any function, you should check whether the function is returning the value or it's printing the value. Whether it is returning the value or printing the value. Got the point, everyone? Any questions regarding returning the value and printing the value? Okay, no questions. Thank you. Okay, so I hope everybody understood what is meant by returning a value, first of all. Okay, and second thing is return versus print is an important question because many of us will get the doubt like what is the difference between printing a value and returning a value, because both will getting the result. Both is getting the result, but difference is, but if you print the value, it cannot be used by other programs. Okay, the result cannot be used by other programs, and if you return the value, then result can be printed as well as used by other programs. So generally it will be preferred to return the value every time. Once you get the answer, instead of printing, it's always good to return the value. It's always good to return the value. Okay, second point I would like to discuss here. The second point I would like to discuss here. Okay, printing a value and returning a value. Like returning multiple values. Returning multiple values. In Python, it is possible that it can return multiple values also. In Python, it is possible that it can return multiple values. To show this, let me show you that what kind of problem we, because as it is not possible in other languages, because returning multiple values is actually nothing but okay, actually nothing but packing and unpacking. Packing and unpacking. Again, you see the tuple concept comes in picture again here. So tuple is like a rescue here. It saves us for all the time. So because of this tuple concept or tuple data structure in Python, all these things are possible, guys. Passing multiple variable length argument or returning a tuple or returning a multiple values. All these are possible just because of tuple. Just because of tuple. Let me explain you a scenario where you require this return of multiple values. Where you require the return of multiple values. Let us take an example to understand. Let us take an example to understand. Now, I will take an example here. I hope you all remember that you might have worked with one of the function called swap function. Okay, you might have worked one of the function called swap function. So I wanted to swap two values now. I wanted to swap two values. Then I'll go here, different logic actually. We know that, for example, let's go with general logic. T is equal to A. Okay, T is equal to A. And then A is equal to B and B is equal to T. B is equal to T. Now, I want to call this swap function. Suppose I call this swap function here. I call this swap function here and pass, okay, two values. Let's say x is equal to 2, y is equal to 3. So I pass x comma y now. I pass x comma y. Now I will print x comma y. X comma y. What do you think the output will be now? What do you think the output will be? 2, 3 or 3, 2? Okay. Satyam thinks the answer will be 3, 2. Santosh also thinks the answer will be 2, 3, 2. But others, Nagaraja, Obul, Vamshi, Vishwajit, okay, thinks it will be 2, 3. Ubul thinks it will be 3, 2. Okay. So it's a combination of 3, 2 and 2, 3. Okay. So let me explain you. Let me explain you. See, you are swapping AB or XY, first of all. This is in separate way and this is separate way, right? You are swapping AB or XY? AB. So will it change XY? Will it change XY? No. How, Satyam? How is possible that I'm swapping AB, which are two local variables, and XY are two different variables now? So swapping AB, how it will affect XY? XY are different variables and AB are different variables, guys. Even though you take AB here, that will be local to this program, and change in this AB will not affect this AB even. The answer will be 2, 3 only. Yeah, X contains 2, Y contains 3, so the answer will be 2 and 3 only. Okay, got my point? So let's change this function now. Let's define that function here called swap function. Let's define the function called swap function where I am taking a comma b, and I can say t is equal to a. Okay, a is equal to b and b is equal to t. This is a logic for swapping. There is no doubt in that. This is a logic of swapping. No doubt in that. Now I will run this code. I'll run this code now. I'll call swap. Okay, let's take x value as 2. Okay, y value as 3. X value as 2, y value as 3. Okay, I will call swap now. I will call swap x comma y. X comma y. So it gets swapped. Now I will print xy now. I'll print x comma y. What do you think it gets printed? It prints 2 and 3 only. Yeah, that's what. First thing is we are not written. Okay, first thing is we're not written. And xy is a local variable to this script and ab is a local variable to this function. Change in ab will not affect xy actually. Change in ab will not affect xy. Okay, will not xy. Then how to solve this problem? How to solve this problem? So that I can print xy. Okay, how to solve the problem? I can print xy so that after changing it should happen. How to resolve this problem? I want x should become 3 and y should become 2. No, because again it will print none, Satyam, Ubul. Ubul, you cannot call swap in print function now because swap does not return any value. Swap does not return any value now, should be none. So any function does not return any value, then it will be none by default. So using them is not good, very good. Now it is only possible in Python, guys, that you can return a comma b. It's only possible in Python that you can return multiple values in Python. Now, if I ask him, okay, same code I will write now. First, let me show you what is type it will be printing. Type of whatever I'm returning. Now, this time I'm returning the value, right? So let me check the type. Type of returning the value is none type. Oh, I didn't run actually. So that's why it's none type. I didn't run. I will run the code again. Okay, I'll just close that screen first of all. I'll run the code again now. Now this time, okay, I will say swap now inside my print swap of x comma y. Oh, I didn't do xy. So I'll take x is equal to 2, y is equal to 3 and call print of type of swap x comma y. Type of x comma y. Okay, so I think one more bracket is missing. So one more bracket and press enter, it's a tuple again. So what you are passing is tuple again. Got the point, everyone? Whenever you write comma separated value, guys, it will be treated as a tuple, as an expression, not as a parameter. So again, when you are passing multiple arguments, it's a tuple. Now, can I store them back in x and y? Yes, I can say x and y is equal to swap of x comma y, or you take other variables also, no problem. Swap of x comma y. Now what happens when I print x comma y? Now it will be changed. It will be changed in this case. It will be 3-2. It will be 3-2 now. Please note down and try to understand how to return multiple values in Python. So it's possible in Python to return multiple values. It's possible in Python to return multiple values. Now it's changed, right? Yeah, you can also print direct also, but that time it will print 3 2 again. That's correct. I can also use directly. Here I can use print instead of type. I can call directly because I can use inside my print function when that function is returning the value. That's perfect. But this time it will not print 3 2. It will print brackets also as a tuple. Remember. Okay, it will print as a tuple now because now x and y got changed to 3 2. So that's why the answer is 2 3. It's swapping because x and y got changed here now. X was 3, y was 2. But you see, when I print x, still it's 3, y still is 2. XY is not getting changed, but I'm calling. Which parts, Abhishek? I want you to understand again, like where you are missing. I want you to understand like where you are missing. Anybody? Please question it because uh, ideally part means this one. This is called script and this is called shell. Together we call it as ideally. This is called shell and this is my script. Yeah, shell one. So here, what I did here, when I say x comma y is equal to swap of x comma y, initially x is 2, y is 3. It will pass 2, 3, but it will return 3, 2. So 3 will be assigned to x and y will be 2. So when I printed x comma y, it became 3 and it became 2. It became 3 and 2. So I'm storing, this is called unpacking. You remember? It's something like writing as x comma y is equal to a tuple of 2 comma 3. This is possible, right? This is called unpacking. You can take a tuple and you can take it. So this is perfectly fine. X will become 2 and y will become 3. This is called unpacking. Something same happening here now. When I call swap, after swapping, it's returning a comma b. So it's returning a comma b, which is 3 comma 2. So 3 will be assigned to x and 2 will be assigned to y. That's why it's printing 3 comma 2. And when I print them directly in my print function, it's printing me as a tuple now. It's printing me as a tuple with brackets. Got it? Yeah, thank you, Abhishek. Yeah, but it will not print. Yeah, that's also okay. I can write directly as well. I can write directly as well. Okay, swap of 2 comma 3. Perfect. It's print 3 comma 2. Yeah, it's our responsibility to convert to tuple to appropriate type or unpack them if you want it to use separately. Otherwise, it will return tuple to you. Now you know unpacking them and all, it's your responsibility then. Because you know the function, you are using the logic. And whenever you are using tuple, it's your responsibility for packing and unpacking properly. Because the number of, while packing and unpacking, you need to be careful with number of arguments. You need to be careful with number of arguments. Yeah, of course. It's one of the use case I have shown you, swap function. You can also define one function which return multiple values. Let me show you. I can also define one function which returns multiple values as well. Okay, I just go here and define that function. Okay, suppose I define one function called fun. I define one function called fun. Okay, where it's actually taking variable length argument, let's say args. Okay, now I wanted to find the sum of args. I would like to store in x actually some value of args. Okay, I will find in y, I will find the max value of args, maximum from args, and in z I will find min of args. These are all predefined functions. Min of args. In L, I will find the length of args. I will find the length of args. Now I can return multiple values. I can say return x comma y comma z comma L. Perfect. I can return multiple values now. Now I'll call this function. I'll call this function fun and pass multiple values now. Now it will print three things. First thing, it's printing me the sum, which is 10. Second, it's printing me maximum value, which is 4. Third, it's printing me minimum value, which is 1. And finally, it's printing me length. Got the point? So it's not about swap. You can use any function and you can return multiple values actually. This is how you can print, guys. You can also take a for loop if you want. You can use this function in a for loop. For I in, you see, that's the beauty. I in function of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then print I. Print I. It will print all the values now. 15, 5, 1, 5. 15 is the sum, 5 is the maximum value, 1 is the minimum value, and again 5 is the length. You see, in for loop I use function. Don't you think it's great? Because it's returning tuple. Very simple. Otherwise, I cannot use function directly in my for loop unless and until it do not return tuple. General functions I cannot use in for loop. Sometimes you come across with this kind of syntax and you get shocked. Hey, why we are using function in a for loop? We use range function, that's okay. We use list, tuple, dictionary, it's okay. But what about this function? It's valid because it's returning a tuple now. So now you understand the importance of tuple. Got the point, everyone? Understood about returning a value? So 2 points I discuss in the return value, that is return versus print and returning multiple values in Python. So this completes the fundamental concept of functions. You see, actually in other languages is a one-day session, okay, talking about all these things. See, we only discuss the syntax, how to define a function, what is meant by parameters, what is meant by docstring, what are local variables, statements, and returning the values. We only completed the syntax of the function. And it took us 3 sessions to complete this because we discussed about function, docstring, what are the parameters. Yeah, you can pass them args directly as well if it is the var arg. If it is a var arg, then you can pass args directly. Okay, but it doesn't make sense, right? See, giving the same value and returning the same value is not make sense. So that's why we have calculated few things like maximum, minimum value, sum value, and length, and I have written. So just to show you how we can return multiple values in Python. Swap is a good example because you will understand here the requirement of returning multiple values. Then I show you that we can also pass multiple values as well. We can return multiple values as well. Okay, so this completes our functions concept, but a lot more to be discussed in function. This is not the end of the function. I can say that it is a start of the function concept. We just started the actual thing of functions. Yeah, I'll show my screen. Okay, thank you, Narendra, and see script as well. So this is the function with multiple values. You can, if anybody asks, you can take this to example, guys. That's more than enough, which will tell them that Python can return multiple values. Please remember all these points. Huh? Please note it down, possibly. And if you can remember, it's well and good. But do remember because we use them a lot in programming actually. All the concept, okay, will be very useful. Okay, understood all? Yeah, shall we go for an example program? And the sense for returning value. Okay, returning a value. So can you write this program? Write a Python function to accept a positive integer from user and return its reverse order. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose I accepted as an integer, okay, and then we reverse them 4, 3, 2, 1. So in n is equal to int of input, enter the number, and which should call reverse function, which is user defined function actually, but should reverse and return the value. And when I print the value, it should print in the reverse order. I have given the code, the main code. You have to just write the reverse, the logic of reverse. Come on, try for this. But remember, this is a single number, guys, not as a tuple. Don't take it as a tuple or something. Okay, this is a single number. I didn't pass sub comma separated value. Remember, tuple will be if you pass comma separated value. I think you did this program in our first assignment, and I hope everybody has also completed second assignment completely. And once you're done, please, if you're getting the same result, can reply here, then we will conclude. No, Satyam. Satyam, we are not accepting as a string, first of all. That's why I've given this code, because many of them will take it as a string and reverse it. I know that. So that's why I've given this code, because I'm converting into integer. Yeah, that's true, Vishwajit. That's looking good. But we don't have to print it, we have to return Vishwajit, because this logic should be written inside the function. Now from here, whenever we have a logic, we will write in a separate function, not in our script directly. But your logic is correct. Logic is correct, Vishwajit. Can you just implement with functions, Vishwajit, and returning a value and taking the argument? No, but still don't do that. The logic is to reverse the integer, not the string. It will work, but we want that logic to be written in integer, because here you will learn how to reverse them. It's important topic. How to reverse is an important topic actually. Vishwajit, I just want you to convert the program into functions. You didn't wrote any function there. Okay, Vishwajit? I want this way only. 3 lines I have given. Remaining line you have to write it. These 3 lines you have to write same way. Please write these 3 lines and then you see what error you will get. Based on that you implement. Guys, write these 3 lines as it is. Taking input, calling the reverse function, returning R and printing R. Then I should get the same output actually. Yeah, now I can see Ubul is getting the correct result, and including these 3 statements, Ubul is having correct thing. Okay, very good, Ubul. Very good. Okay, so let's copy these 3 lines here and then write the code. So when I copy these 3 lines now, okay, when I copy these 3 lines here, sorry. Okay, I copy these 3 lines, enter the number, reverse and reverse. When I run this code now, I will get an error that reverse is not found. enter any number 2. It says reverse is not defined. Reverse is not defined because there is no reverse function. I need to define my own reverse function. There is no predefined reverse function. That's what I wanted to show here you. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you. Now I'll define my reverse function. REVERSE, reverse. We'll take an integer value, let's say x, okay, and it will reverse the logic. And how we have to reverse the logic? I will use a variable called REV. Initially I will give 0, REV for reversing. Okay, then I'll take a while loop. I have to reverse this while, okay, until x becomes 0. I can use while x directly, because while x means while it is not 0, you repeat it. When it becomes 0, you stop. It will become 0. So what is the logic for reversing? I will show you here. The logic for reversing is, if it is 1 2 3 4, if it is 1 2 3 4, I'll get the last digit. You know how to get the last digit? I will divide this with modulus division with 10. That will return me the remainder, which is 4. I'll store it in R. Okay, I'll store that in R now. Then whatever you got in reverse, I will multiply with 10. I will get that R value will be added, and I will store that in reverse actually. So reverse initially 0 into 10 will give you 0 plus R, which is 10, which is 4. Okay, will be added, and reverse will become 4 now. Reverse will become 4. So we got the reverse value already 4. That's what our expectation, right? So reverse value already we got it 4. Okay, reverse value we already got it 4 now. So this logic will help you for sum of numbers and Armstrong numbers, okay, perfect numbers. So many ways this logic will help you guys. So please listen this logic, okay, for all of them. So this logic will be useful. So REV into 10 plus R. So we got 4 now, and reverse got 4. And then I will say n value or x value is equal to x division with 10. So we know that when I use division, it will return 1 2 3. So x becomes 1 2 3. So this should be repeated again. Now 1 2 3 you divide with 10, we'll get the remainder as 3. So previous value is 4. 4 into 10, 40. 40 plus 3, 43. So reverse will become 43. Next time it will become 1 2. So remainder will be 2. Remainder will be 2. So 43 into 10, 430. 430 plus 2, 432. Okay, and then remainder will become, quotient will become 1. So 1 divided by modulus 10, 1. Previous value of reverse, 432 into 10, 4320, plus 1, 4321, and then finally x becomes 0, it will come out. Okay, I'll write that, Satyam. You have to trace out. I'll write the logic, you have to trace out. First thing, I will store the remainder. I'll store the remainder. What is the remainder? Remainder is nothing but x modulus division by 10. We'll get the remainder. Next line is very important. Reverse is equal to reverse multiply by 10 plus R plus R. This is very important. You have to trace out, Satyam. Okay. Now x is equal to x divided by 10. Perfectly fine. I'll come out and return REV. Return REV. So my program will work perfectly fine now. Now I'll run this code now. I'll run this code. This time I will enter 1 2 3 4 and it's printing me 4 3 2 1. So you enter any number now, it will reverse you the number. So this logic is very, very important. Here I am getting the remainder. Here I am reducing the quotient and storing in x, and here I am just reversing the value. Please trace this logic, you will understand. Copy, take it and trace it, and then solve other problems like palindrome or not, Armstrong number or not. Okay, sum of the digits. Many problems can be solved with this logic. So this logic is one of the very important logic in programming because it is useful in many cases. Got it, everyone? So this is all for today. We learn variable length argument, and we learn what is meant by returning a value. Okay, so we learn a lot of things today: how to pass a tuple and pack them, how to return multiple values and unpack them. So a lot of things we learn actually, and a lot of interview questions we covered today. So please go through with the session, like whatever you have noted down. Please go through with it. It will be important actually. Okay. Thank you, Bull. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you, Vishwajit. Thank you, Bull. Have a good day, everyone. Stay safe, stay home. Okay. Bye, Vishwajit. Thank you, Prashanti. Yeah, thank you all. Have a good day, everyone. Okay, we'll take a leave. Yeah, you too. Have a good day, Ubul.